Hello, everybody. Brandon here. We're going to be talking about the 1979 Kiss album, Dynasty, which is, if I'm not mistaken, 2 years after the previous one. So that's a little surprising because they tended to, for those first six albums, release them much closer together. So this one seems to have taken a bit longer to come together or release or whatever. And in my opinion, not worth anyone's wait because no shit, I like two songs off of this album and that's it. I don't like the rest. In fact, I still did a top three, written down right here, but I basically chose number three's song by default. By like, I don't know, this is like the one that I guess would be the next one that I could listen to again theoretically. But it's not going on any playlists, not going in my liked. It's pretty like I don't care, honestly. This song, if it had been on any of the other albums, would not have made my top threes ever. But it's basically just kind of squeezing in here this time just because. So before I get to my top three, I just want to say that I think one of the things that I noticed more on this album is that these songs are all longer than has typically been the case. The shortest song on this album is 3.5 minutes, which in some cases might have been the longest song on one of their previous records. So, having some of these almost be 5 minutes and they're not necessarily the most enjoyable songs, in my opinion, is a detriment to the album. This album is almost 40 minutes long as compared to, let's see, their very first album, 35. Okay, that's actually longer than I expected. But I think, was it Love Gun? Yeah, Love Gun's like 32 minutes. Pretty sure Dress to Kill is like barely 30 minutes. I feel like the extra 10 minutes kind of shows on this album a bit more than I would have expected. Because I don't normally complain about the length of songs. Just a quick couple of examples to prove that I'm not just like short attention span. I don't like listening to anything longer than 3.5 minutes. Dripping Tap is one of my favorite King Gizzard songs. It's almost 20 minutes long. And one of my favorite bands is Typo Negative. Which, if you know anything about them, you know that they have plenty of songs that are, quite lengthy compared to a lot of other, like, more mainstream music. So, yeah, it's not that I just, like, hate long songs. It's just, like, I think with Kiss, they are much better at making shorter songs, and the extra length on a lot of these songs does not help the songs in any way, and I think kind of hurts them. Especially when, like, I don't like the song within the first, like, 30 seconds. I'm already like, ugh. And then I realize, like, oh, cool, this is longer than than I would like to listen to on top of that. So, yeah. I guess, yeah. The length of the music is one issue in this case. Again, I don't just hate long music. But also the songs themselves are just, I don't know, they're not as fun, they're not as catchy to me, they're not as memorable. They're just kind of like, I don't know, they're whatever. If these kinds of songs had been sprinkled throughout their discography rather than all on this one album, I maybe wouldn't notice them so much, but it's like they're all here together and I don't like it. So anyway, I guess let's do our top three. Which, again, number three is basically by default. It's not because I really like the song all that much, but yeah, I don't know. It's one of the three I would listen to again if I like had no choice for some reason, in some dumbass imaginary scenario. But yeah, number three is going to go to 2000 Man, which is too long. It's definitely too long. It's almost 5 minutes long. Doesn't need to be that long. Really, I think the only reason I chose it is because it's Ace Frehley, and it doesn't, like, I don't know, it doesn't annoy me that much despite its length. So that's taken the number three slot. Now for number two, I'm gonna actually pick "I Was Made for Loving You," which is the by far most famous track off of this album. It has almost, it has more than 750 million plays on Spotify. And then, I'm sure, I don't know if they had like singles of this back in the day or whatever, but I'm sure that would have been a big seller. I'm sure this was all over the radio because this is a very well-known Kiss song. I know that much. But I'm putting it at my number 2 slot. My number 1 is going to be Sure Know Something. Sure Know Something, in my opinion, is like them doing kind of a slower, sadder toned song and doing it pretty well, in my opinion. And it's I don't know, it's just it's good. It's a good song. If God, it's just too bad because it feels like, in my opinion, I Was Made for Loving You and Sure Know Something are far and above way better than the entire rest of this album, which is just a shame because, it's unfortunate when, like, you generally like an artist and you hear music and you're just like, it's a bummer. It's like I could have gone with you guys not making this album probably because I don't care for it. I don't know how people felt about it at the time, like Kiss fans, like you wait like 2 years after Love Gun to get Dynasty, and then, like, I don't know, was that just like massively disappointing? Or I don't know, because here's the thing, fans are sometimes one of like two things, and I'm not sure what the majority of Kiss fans are when it comes to this, but there's fans who love everything related to their thing that they are a fan of. So there's fucking Star Wars fans who every time a movie comes out and every time there's like a new show or a new game, they're just all over it. They just love it. They can't get enough. They don't care what the quality level is. They don't care like how bad it might be or how much of like a dissonant like kind of tone it might have with the rest of the the entirety of the series as a whole or whatever. Same thing with music. There's people who they love their favorite artist and every single album is the best album and they won't hear a single word of criticism. And then there's fans who are way more harsh on their thing. So like I could totally imagine, you're into the previous like 6 albums and then Dynasty comes out and you're just like pissed. You're like, what is this shit? This sucks. Fucking crap album. Like, so I don't know what the general consensus was at the time, but being someone who listened to all of this stuff well after it was all released, I don't know, it's just it's a very like disappointing bump to have hit, especially after basically mostly enjoying all the preceding albums. With like small dips with like Rock and Roll Over and Hotter Than Hell were like a little like they're not like terrible, but they weren't like this, where this was like I didn't want to listen to basically any of the songs. So yeah, that has me worried because I can't remember a single song off of Unmasked. But I feel like I remember not liking Unmasked at all. I feel like I remember really disliking that one. So we'll find out when I do the next one of these. But anyway, so yeah, that's what I think about Dynasty. I don't like it. I just don't like it. I do like the 2 songs that I like, and then like I said, that third pick, 2000 Man, I'm probably never gonna listen to it again, at least not voluntarily. So take that for whatever you will. And yeah, I guess that's it. I'll see you guys in the next video, which is, we're going to be talking about Unmasked, which I'm a little worried about, but we'll see what happens. So take care, everybody.